Well, hello there. This is Shane from Shane's Books and Review, and welcome to Friday. You made it. Congratulations. I'm so happy that you guys and gals made it back here. Today, we're going to be talking about Vita Nostra, wrote by Sergey Dyachenko and Marina Sergey. Hope I got that right. The book, wow. Okay, first off, timestamp here or here. Here? Okay. So just a oversimplification of the book. There is a girl. She meets this stranger that she feels like is following her. He ends up giving her all these kinds of quests. You need to swim naked every morning, and then whenever you puke up these coins, seriously, then you keep a hold of them. Eventually something is going to happen. I'll tell you when to stop. And at every life juncture, from the vacation to going to college to this and this and this, there's all these weird assignments that she has to do. Yes, it was kind of strange. It put me into a very different mind space whenever I was reading this book that I'm usually in whenever it comes to novels or science fiction or horror or psychological thrillers, whatever. It was a good place to get to. It really was. There's all these little oddities. From what I've been reading lately, this was such a fresh breath of air. I was so appreciative of getting that and turning those pages. She goes to a point in life where she has to choose what college to go to. She knows where she wants to go, but she ends up getting sucked into this place that the stranger was running. The book follows her through her training, as it were, and it was not a typical type of a setup at all. Things were gobbledygook, jabberwocky, walkerjaw. They didn't make sense. They were parallelistic and just completely backwards from the average college experience. And this actually plays out throughout the book because there comes a point where she has to go home, and with the things that she's been learning and going through, she has these issues with making the decisions that's going to be so important to her later on. Over at this place that's just backwards and off to the reader, but normal-ish to her, she's like a superstar, really. But in her hometown, if she were to go back and then go to the state college or university or Ivy League or whatever, she wouldn't be doing all that great at all. And then there's the social issues that she has because of what she's doing. That itself was a very unique perspective. That's one of the things that I liked so much about the book, is that not only did we have this person that's going through this huge transformative thing through the entire book, the writing was done in such a way that it really connects you to this character. You feel the character, you see the character, you get very uncomfortable with some of the things that were wrote. If you're a very solid, grounded individual, you're not an air type of a person, if you're grounded and you read this, you might find yourself looking for excuses not to read it. But finish it, because if you do, there's great rewards that you will get to by the end of the book for this character. I'm not going to say everything works out. I'm not going to say everything doesn't work out. The writing encapsulated not only the feeling of the area she would have been in and herself, the emotional state you can kind of derive from the things that are happening. It's balanced throughout. It's really well balanced. I enjoyed that aspect of it quite a bit. As far as dilemmas, there's multiple dilemmas throughout this entire book for her. By the way, her name is Sasha, just in case. Such a character. I connected to that character in a way that I haven't really connected with a character in a long time. Even with some of the audible stuff that we've talked about here lately, with the way that people can bring characters to life, this character on page was just absolutely wondrous. That I am done with the fan fiction of it all. Let's get to those spoilers, shall we? As mentioned, there's a gentleman that is in her life from that point forward. The book is just an incredible display of what if. And I really don't want to give a whole lot away. It's alluded to that they are the movers and shakers. They are the ones that create the destiny of things. They are the ones that shape everything that is going on behind the scenes. That you have to give up your humanity to be able to do this. That some of the teachers and some of the professors that are there might indeed not be human whatsoever, but it's not an alien type of a book. Rather, it has to do with tapping into the creative resources of the universe and how those things tie into us, the power of what language actually does have, and breaking down the conventions of the students, not necessarily brainwashing, but reprogramming for sure. They are able to move beyond what we as normal humans would be able to do on a daily basis. There's a couple of points that are incredibly fantastic in the book where she's either flying through the air or where these incredible circumstances have occurred. Then they have to be remedied. And she is a problem student for sure because of these things. She is a person that is able to affect the things around her physically and herself. And it was very unique to watch how the different semesters or the different years, how that was laid out, so that these people would run into some of the older students, but the older students were really vague and didn't help, but did encourage. And how whenever they became those older students, how they were told by their professors to not do this. All the speculation on the parts of other students of where the school actually takes place at particular points. These are all details that most people probably would have glanced over whenever they would attempt to write a book like this, and I don't think most everybody could. It was in those details, not necessarily getting to hard facts or hard theories or this, that, and the other, but the tie-in to what we have learned about ourselves and the universe at points to that fantasized world that makes this a book that comes to life. And in the way that it's presented, it's almost hard to remember that it is just that. It's fiction. It's not reality. It is certainly a book that will transport you to another place. A place where you get to see things and experience things that you just wouldn't see. The descriptive language inside of the book was really well done. This is a perfect showcase of show versus tell. Do versus show. For that, I'm not going to say it's the perfect book. This is going to certainly be on the top of my list of books this year, if not the topmost book. I don't remember a time where I read a book and enjoyed it so very much. The story goes so far and so wide in the scheme of her life and the things that are happening around her. How she transforms from just this innocent that wants to become something to becoming herself. It's unique to see how she's able to get people to do things later on in the book. That was such a fun little trip. And it would be a very trippy thing to see. If this was ever turned into a movie and the movie stayed true to the material, one, it would be incredibly long. So maybe not a movie, but to see the visual artist and their take on the book and just what could be done with that. It's one of those things where as a creative, that would just be such a playground to do so many things with. So that might be a question. Would that be something that you guys and gals would watch? I'd be interested to know. And a secondary question, is there any books like this that you have read that is on this caliber? Because if there are and I don't know about them, we need to have a conversation for sure. So to wrap it up, it is a fanciful tale about a person that goes through a huge transformation, not only in their own mind and heart and body and soul, and they transform into something much, much more by the end of the book. We get to see the plights, the falls, the uplifts throughout the book of a person gaining knowledge that is beyond what we would associate as normality. And as that occurs, they don't necessarily gain power, but they see the power from within. And the way that the book was left off, it makes me really wonder if there's going to be a sequel to it. Because if there is, I hope that that if there is one, that it stays true to the source material, that this world that has been created by Sergey and Marina. I think I've said that different every time. Somebody help me. Give me a phonetical spelling. I mean, I won't be able to fix it, but maybe the next time I'll be able to say it correctly, huh? But the world that those two have created is a wondrous place. And I am going to sound like a fanboy. I became an instant fan of their work whenever I read this book. I need to go back and find more things, and I will. If they come out with other things, they will be on my list of just grab it. But I would like to thank you for joining me today. By the way, we have passed the 100 mark. We now have a channel name. I will splash that across here. That way you can share the channel easier with friends or people that you know that might enjoy this type of a thing. I'd be happy to have them come along with us and join our family. Like, share, subscribe. This is Shane from Shane's Books and Review, and I will see you Monday.